I'm that girl who knows that people love labels because it gives them a box to put themselves in and then to get whatever things they need from those boxes, from putting yourselves in those labels. They love to label others and they love to label themselves, so then they can sort of justify and understand and accept who they are and why. And it was a very interesting experience that I had where a mother was feeling very frustrated that her son wasn't officially labeled autistic, because she truly believed that if she was given that label for him, she would be supported more. Okay, yeah. So if you're needing more support as a parent, as most parents do, you need to be able to express and share. You're struggling, you're trying to understand this human you've created, because they don't come with manuals. And so I got to hear her long journey of how she's really struggled without getting any support from her perspective about understanding her son and how he works. And so she was explaining to me her journey of how challenging it was to breastfeed, and how he wasn't an eater, how he wasn't a sleeper, and all this stuff that he was going through. And she was trying to fit him into a box that he obviously wasn't residing at. It wasn't him. And so while she wanted the label of autism to be supported by her friends and family, to be considered that, you know, however she was coping was the best way for her, there was a lot going on for her. And so it was very interesting to have a dinner with her while her son, who was 15, sitting beside me while I'm listening to the mother recount his breastfeeding schedule and his sleep schedule from the ages of 0 to today. And she's so fixated on every single detail of his life that she's not even recognizing him sitting there listening to his mother stressed about the way he was, as if he is that child right now. It was quite extraordinary times. And I kept listening to her talking about her struggles to understand him. And it was interesting. And it's almost like, well, did she need that label herself to be able to just let him be? Because she was really resisting to understand how he was, because she was trying to compare him to others while knowing he was unique and special and fantastic. It was just very interesting. You're trying to find these labels to then be able to accept how they are. And so are we creating labels to then like justify people's behaviors and actions, or are we doing something else? And so she's very looped and very traumatized with her challenging experiences of being a mother. And she has just recently awoken. And now she's got a lot of parent guilt for having certain choices with his medical history and a whole lot of things. And she doesn't see the world getting better. She knows that this world is FUCK'd, and she is just struggling to overcome her challenges 15 years ago. And she's in the past, stressed and feeling really bitter and resentful for all the people who didn't support her 15 years ago. And her husband sitting beside her, completely being a silent partner in her support, but still we're all listening to her laugh and cry and get angry and a whole lot of range of emotions. It was like group therapy. And you know, I just keep hearing, how is this serving you now? How is this serving you now? And we know, you know, people who are still struggling deep in the 3D, who are trying to make sense out of everything. It's very challenging. I just keep thinking, gosh, this is, you know, I feel deeply for her, because she's struggling so much with understanding and seeing the purposes and significances of lives. And you know, of course, she doesn't know any of my work, and it was a social event. And so I just got to listen and support her with the range of emotion she was going through. And then I kept not meaning to trigger her, but kept talking to her son, who was listening to this conversation as well, and saying, what do you think you were, why do you think you were responding to that, and how, and tell me more, what were you going through, what do you recall? Trying to bring him into the conversation, because apparently it was all about her struggling. No one else was involved. Apparently the son wasn't struggling, and the husband wasn't struggling. It was just about her. And I just found it really interesting as she kept referring to so many people in her life as narcissists. And I just keep thinking, well, where is your hurt? Why are you projecting so much onto other people when clearly you are very hurt and trapped, not just in 15 years ago when you became a parent, but quite a lot further? Now, you may think, God, Jo, you're really bagging on this woman and gossiping. And I don't feel like it's gossiping. It is me observing someone's behavior who wants to awaken, who is feeling very disenfranchised, very impacted with the way of the world. And I would like to say, with much love, very confused. And when you're very confused about things and don't have any faith in anything being good, it's just all doom and gloom, and it's all just a shit show. And there is no glimpse of any hope for any future that is going to be any better. And she has already said, she's cut off all her friends and family who didn't support her with the mandates. They're dead to her. And so she's, seeking out more social friends. And it is, it is fine. It's valid. You want like-minded friends. Absolutely. But when I was observing people's behaviors at the party and what they were going through, really big topics of them really struggling. So I found that I was giving little seeds of, opinions from my perspective about certain things. And I believe that children do not starve themselves. While we assume they need big meals and 3 times a day at the times that we dictate for them, their bodies are very intuitive and they're very smart. And it's us that take them out of a routine to feed them for our lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and snacks and brunch and blah, 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 blah. Their bodies, if we allowed them to naturally tune into their bodies, they would just naturally graze as they felt like it. I hear so many clients subconscious saying about their children that may not be thriving. It's really a lot of energy that they're processing energetically. Thank God we know the metaphysics, right? Thank God we know the metaphysics. Did you hear what I just said? Yes, we can thank all collectives and all beings who all collectively are God to help us with this. So as we know, when you're a big spiritual light being coming in into these little meat suit bodies, sometimes the poison that we call food doesn't help us do our light working duties. So remember that, because that's kind of the key to any parent that is worried that their children are not eating well. They're not starving to death. And while we may have privilege because we think that we should be stuffing our faces 24/7, just be reminded of other countries and other cultures and how they actually treat and conduct and respect their bodies with the food. Because we're not all stuffing our faces. Yes, emotionally, absolutely, we've done it. Okay, I'm not innocent with that. I totally do. I have used food for love. I have used food for emotional comfort and support. Absolutely, I have. And I've also done it on the extreme. When I was much younger, say like in my earlier sort of 20s or whatever, I did not feel worthy of love. So I didn't want to eat food because I didn't feel like I deserved it. And so, there is that pendulum swing of how do you use food. And so this highly sensitive, aware of the world baby came into her life who was just happy being him, rocking his big light worker energy duties and just wanting to be so he could focus on the energy fields and all this sort of stuff. He was doing lots of light work energy at nighttime when everyone was sleeping, because it just actually helps him not be distracted by a helicopter parent. Say that with love, but you know what I mean. So here she is trying to raise a normal child to fit into all these boxes she assumed her child should be. And here he is, his fantastic self, living out his best light worker roles and duties. And his mother is so freaking worried about him, she's becoming a neurotic mess. It's very clear. And she hasn't actually outgrown that habit. He's outgrown his work. He has attuned himself. Remember, how old is he? It's very interesting times. All the children that come in to be of service. And unfortunately, it seems like we forget that our children in their little meat suits, adorable little meat suits, are gigantic big souls here for a purpose and a mission. And some people think when they put on their spiritual cloak of understanding and wisdom, oh, so I know spirituality, cool. And I know I've got teams, cool. And I know I've got a collective, cool. And I know I've got master guides, cool. And then I'm going to forget that everyone else has. I'm just going to think it's just me because I know this information. So I'm the only one that's protected. I'm the only one that has been guided by high dimensional beings. And so then we will look and be so afraid of everyone else because they don't know what we know. The thing is, we have to remember every single person has guides. Every single person has guides. Every single person has guides. Okay, so trust that. Trust that everyone's been guided into the right perceptions and experiences that they need for their soul's contract, their soul's journey, their soul's growth. It's very significant. They're not just like, oh, I think we'll deal with you on Tuesdays and maybe Wednesday afternoons if we're not like doing golf. You know, they're really dedicated to their roles. They take it really seriously. And you know what else they take really seriously? When they give you guys great, profound information and wisdom and knowledge, and you're like, I don't know about that. It sounds like I need to do something or take something seriously or have a bigger perspective. I might just pencil you in for later. So, you know, they don't do these sessions and they don't give you this information for their own shits and giggles and entertainment. They're doing this to help you because you've been so surrounded with so much other disinformation and misinformation, you don't even know whether you're coming and going. Okay. So, you know, they really want you to be able to have a session in terms of free. And so they are really keen on that, aren't they? They're really, really keen on wanting you to get the help and the wisdom and the explanations of your life and what you're going through. Because I'm not going to judge you if you're that mother too, who has been looping and worrying about their poor little innocent 3D children who have no idea about this shift. And what if they don't go because they don't know? Blah, 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 right? Trust, trust, trust. They also have their own teams. You're also all working together. No one's forgotten about. No one's going to be left behind on the old earth. Everyone is here. Everyone has a signature frequency. Even if you did somehow get separated and disconnected from your teams, we know some who have been it reminds me of those people who have had caesareans where the mothers didn't go into natural labor, which did not alert their higher teams and higher self that this was now needing to be merged. The soul and the body needs to be merged, and that occurs at birth. Right? Once that baby is delivered, then that's like infused. The soul and the meat suit is infused together. Yes, the soul can come in and out during the pregnancy to kind of, you know, get attuned with some of the energies and what it feels like to be in the body, but they don't find that, you know, big souls don't want to hang out for 9 months going, God, are we there yet? While the mother's like, God, are we there yet? So, you know, there's so much to be said about that, isn't there? It's important, it's significant. And if you've been blessed, and if you have accepted the responsibility of housing a little huge light worker warrior to be here, to be of service, you know why. Because you're loving them. You're not trying to squeeze them into boxes. You trust their teams. You know what? Why don't you ask and talk to your subconsciouses, your children's subconscious, your pet's subconscious? I was just talking to a woman the other day who has very high alert dogs. You know, I know lots of dogs are very sensitive to any new beings or any new visitors, physical or non-physical, into the homes, right? This is really common. And often when I do sessions and you can hear the dogs wanting to bark and get their attention of the owners, hey, big energy is here. It could be the mailman or it could be Archangel Michael. You know, like whomever it will be, the dog will want you to know someone's here. I'm going to protect you. Get off my lawn. You know, I'm here to protect this person. And when I have those dogs who are very active, I've asked the dog subconscious, please subconscious, I'm just going to call them the dog subconscious. I want you to just reassure the dog all is well. This is positive. This is kind. This is loving energy. And this is helping my client. And can we just allow the dog to be to have a sleep and to be able to enjoy resonating with this high frequency energy as we get the session going on. And I've also had cats come in. Oh my God, I remember one cat is so funny. So, you know, I do sessions in person, I do sessions online, regardless of whether, I mean, BQH is online and QHHT sessions are in person as the rules, you know, I would needed to be for those schools. Anyway, I remember being on a Zoom session, and I'm watching the client, and they're very relaxed, laying down in the bed, and I'm talking to the subconscious, and then all of a sudden, this cat comes along and just sits and watches me. And I can't see my client, and it's just like looking, and it's very happy with itself. And then I was like, can I talk to the subconscious of the cat, please? Does it have a message? And then it just was very pleased, like, yes. And then the cat wanted to say it was not amused when the owner went away. And so it's still a little bit pissed off and sorry about the weeds on the carpet, but I wanted to make a statement, and I hope you understand this was your punishment to you know, not take you with me. Never leave me is basically what the cat wanted the owner to know. And it's so funny. And so many animals love these sessions and love the energy of these sessions, but they also get sort of a little bit confused because there's big energy that comes into these sessions, and they're not too sure, should I be protecting? Should I be worried? What's going on there? So, you know, I know some people are like, you talk about children a lot, Joe, and I don't have children. And I'm like, yeah, we have your fur babies, you know, and, you know, sometimes, I mean, whoever is in our lives is really significant. And sometimes I know plants are very significant to certain people's lives, you know, so your adult children may have grown up, but you're surrounded by lots of energy beings encapsulated into your plants that you're surrounding yourselves with. And you just don't know how you sort of promise yourself, no more plants today, no more plants. I'm full. And then you find yourself coming home from a shopping trip and you've got 4 more little orphans that you just could not leave behind, and you don't know why. You know, we are amazing right now at being able to connect in with people and beings who we need to support in our energy field, because right now we're a big team. Right now, we're all getting together and raising our frequency vibrations and healing the past, forgiving our older selves when I was like, you know, sort of dumb and stupid and completely oblivious to the whole metaphysics world, and I would over worry, overthink, and not understand that everything I was going through was to try and give me experiences so I could overpower them and strengthen myself and believe in myself and trust in myself and not fall into victim mode or disempowerment and all that sort of stuff, right? Like I've been there, I've done that. And that is part of the second wave volunteer crazy, I'll have everything life contract. You know, because apparently I thought I believed in myself enough and my soul enough to be able to do it all. Bless that. And that obviously proves in the high dimensions, obviously people drink. And, you know, I want to make fun out of it because sometimes you think, what on earth was I thinking? I'm not that brave. I'm not that good at that stuff. This is something new. And a lot of people just assume because you're something else in another lifetime, you could just easily cool breeze into here and be able to rock it in the third dimension in this lifetime. No, no. Often people have great skill sets in other lifetimes, and then they come here to this lifetime to then regain and build and strengthen and earn that position again here. You don't just automatically get given it. Lots of people keep asking, when are my gifts going to arrive? I want to be psychic. I want to channel. I want to teleport stuff. I want to do this. I want to do that. And the subconscious is like, well, you didn't even ask for that in this lifetime, nor did you want to, nor do you need to. But if you want to, you have to start gaining and start respecting all of the steps to it. You just don't get given, oh, sure, you want everything? Oh, why didn't you tell me? There. So again, it's about that. What are you asking for, and what do you want, and what do you really need? You know, there's a big difference, big difference there. So anyway, gosh, I feel like there's lots of conversations and threads of conversations that are happening right now in this. So pardon me, I'm trying to see what else they wanted to say. So lots of parents worry that their children are not eating, right? So they comfort eat themselves, and they want to love their children. So they want to just fill their children up with heaps of food. Okay. But the children are not able to use their voice, obviously, because I'm just clearing my, they're not trying to, they're trying to say to you, I'm not hungry, because they're not hungry. But then we sort of think, oh gosh, we'll start bartering with them. No, you must eat something. You must, well, and you just start sort of having the idea of good, healthy options, but they're not interested in that, because they actually don't need the fuel that we think that they do. They are actually connected and higher, so they're not really that starving for food. Actually, it makes them feel quite dense and quite unwell. And so we start off with really healthy options, and they decline there. And so we start sort of like dropping our standards. You know, basically we're just asking them right at the end, we'll just give you full candy and maybe like Red Bull or something, you know, like we're so desperate to give them something so they could be fueled by our love that we are translating as food. And so we just resort right back to, whatever you eat, as long as I see you actually eating and drinking, then I will know that I'm a good parent, because I'm loving you with food, and you know, you're thriving. And so I often sort of say to parents, do you really think children starve themselves to death? Because if you look at the other cultures of other places, sometimes people only eat once a day, or they have a really small little snack. So, you know, just see what we assume is our culture and food, and remembering that when we know that all industries are trying to disempower us one way or another. And I know that does not sound nice, right? I know lots of people are still at that. I'm only willing to think of half agendas in this one half industry that may not be so good for me, Joe. I know lots of people that get really pushed to consider all industries are not empowering humanity, and that is fine. It's a journey. And you know, sometimes when you actually see all of the disempowerments and all the ways that they're trying to manipulate and control and disempower humanity, you know, that really bottoms us out. You know, that's when we would think, oh, there is no good hope, there is no good future, right? It's not possible. Can't be common sense to have, you know, all of this power and manipulation and control over the masses. And how is this suddenly going to be all good and jazz handsy in our future? Those are the people that don't have metaphysics and any concept of understanding of what the metaphysical realm and what we're going to go through is coming. It's whatever is coming. We know what is coming. We've heard this many times in sessions. And of course now, because you've all had your internship sessions, right? You also know what's coming and what needs to be focused on. And so raising your vibration is a really important one. And this is what they will say often. And so how does one raise their vibrations? Great question to ask in your internship session. So usually more water, eating less dense food, eating more sort of raw food, grounding yourselves, being connected in with nature, actually being able to just not be so busy with everything, disconnect yourselves from everything and everyone just for a few minutes a day and just feel into what is going on with me. What is the biggest hurdle or trigger or loop that I'm obsessed with or focused on that I actually can let go of now? Or just feeling into what is my busy mind saying? Because sometimes we're so super busy with our thoughts, we don't actually stop and start valuing or reviewing them. And so many people don't notice that they've still got really bad self-talk, or I don't know anything, I don't know anything, I don't know anything. And so they don't know where to stand. I'm just new at spirituality, so I know nothing. Well, actually, my friends, your souls are the same age as everyone. We're all connected into source. So you're all aware of this. So it's just a dependent of when you want to step up and trust into this information or not. You don't have to trust this information to be able to apply it, because the information that I'm sharing with you all is about the shift, the new earth, and what that actually looks like for all of my clients and myself. And so does that apply to you? Potentially, yes. Do you go somewhere else? Potentially, yes. Do you go back to source after this? Potentially, yes. I can't answer all of your questions, and this is why it's a fantastic opportunity for you to have an internship session yourself just to find out. But lots of people are really still scared. What if the subconscious is going to say something I'm not ready to hear? What if it says that I'm not a good person? So if you're still in that journey of understanding metaphysics and spirituality, and you still think that there are good and bad people, okay, you're very, very early on your stage of spirituality. Because when you understand that there are people that play the roles for lessons and experiences, the higher dimensional people are not, sorry, the high dimensional beings are not like, oh, that's naughty, that person, that's, they're going to get coal from Santa for Christmas. They're all purposeful. They're all, if you have a life contract to play the bad guy, that the whole collective is supporting that bad guy to be able to give people those lessons and experiences, opportunities to be triggered, opportunities for growth, to overcome something, and to be able to heal and expand upon that experience. Right? So if you're still a spiritual person, but yet you're wanting to call out people as being evil or bad or something else, okay, you're still judging and you're still in a labeling position. And so when you can see the whole picture of the purpose of someone's lifetime, then you can starting to respect the life contracts for all. And that's a really important one, respecting all life contracts. And potentially, we all come from these really divine, really angelic realms where everyone's just, innately good and loving and kind. And that is fantastic. And that's what we all should be doing and being and all that sort of stuff. But that's our normal natural state. And so this is, kind of gets a bit boring, or there's no lessons. Those lessons have been explored and they want more challenges. And so, hello, here it is, 3D planets. How fantastic, right? And we all want these experiences profoundly, but when we're so brave when we sign up these life contracts, but then when we're actually experiencing these, they're a little bit challenging. And I like the other day when they sort of gave me the analogy of jumping out of a parachute. You've already jumped out of that plane, you're shitting your pants, not happy. And you're thinking, God, why did I do this for? But you can't undo it, right? You have to wait for the journey to then be able to land with grace and think, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. I want to do that again. But there is moments where you have little freakouts, right? And that's normal. That's the journey. So, embrace all those freakouts, because it gives you more opportunities to question and think for yourselves, rather than just being an autopilot and just having that balance and neutral of everything is perfect and, all is well. Because sometimes when we're in that zone of everything's perfect and all is well, we don't try to lose our balance. And so then we don't try to do things that potentially could lose our balance. And sometimes our teams are like, come on, you've got to go in there. You've got to go support others. You've got to say and speak your voice and share and connect in with each other. And right now, sometimes when you do have your inner peace and balance, you don't want to trigger that. And so connecting in with your 3D friends who have no idea about spirituality and think this world is doomed, well, it kind of is, isn't it, in some regards? So there's that. Okay, so food for thought. just wanted to reassure you all that your children and your pets and your friends and your family are very well protected and very well supported as they're choosing to use their free will to be able to have the best experiences for their 3D. Fascinating times. Okay, so I hope that you appreciate yourselves, appreciate the lessons and experiences you've given yourselves, and see if you are looping in the old time, and be able to see it now from a bigger perspective. See what you were supposed to learn and experience from it. Have you overcome it? Or is it something that you're needing to address and attend now to be able to heal and advance and empower yourself through? Fascinating times. We're still in the 3D, so let's make the best out of it.